He cried out for help, his voice echoing off the dry earthen walls. But the voices that answered from above were not voices of rescue. They were the cold, calculating whispers of men deciding his fate, his own brothers. The very people who shared his blood, who were supposed to protect him from the world's dangers, were the ones who had become the danger itself, the ultimate betrayal. And in a moment he never saw coming, a violent, irreversible act of malice. Joseph was thrown into a deep, empty pit, alone, forgotten, left to die in the suffocating silence of the earth. But this was not the end of his story. In many ways, it was only the beginning. Before the pit, there was a seed of conflict, something growing in the background. Jealousy. Joseph was different. He was deeply loved by his father, Jacob, a love made visible by a coat of many colors, a symbol of favor that set him apart. And he had dreams, vivid prophetic dreams that one day, even his family would bow before him. But when he shared these visions, his brothers didn't see divine purpose. They saw arrogance, they saw pride, and so a bitter resentment began to grow in their hearts, slowly, quietly, until it festered into something truly dangerous. One day they made their decision. They ripped away his colorful robe, the symbol of his father's love, and they threw him into a pit. Joseph begged them. He called out for mercy, but no one answered. Then they saw a caravan passing by, and instead of rescuing him, they sold him for pieces of silver, a brother, sold like a possession. And as the caravan pulled him away, Joseph watched his home disappear behind him. The journey was long, hot winds, endless desert, and silence. Joseph had no idea where he was going, only that everything familiar was gone. He was brought into Egypt, a land of power, gods, and strangers. And just like that, the dream coat was replaced with chains. The son of promise, once cherished by his father, became a slave in a foreign land. Stripped of his identity and his future, it seemed all was lost. But even in that desolate place, something unseen was still working. Joseph worked faithfully, with integrity and diligence, and for a time, his character shone through the darkness of his circumstances. He found favor in the house he served, earning trust and responsibility. But trials don't always end quickly. Sometimes, a season of peace is just a prelude to a greater storm. He was falsely accused. A wicked lie was spoken against him, twisting his integrity into a crime. And without justice, without a single voice to speak for him, without a defense, he was taken away again. His brief respite was shattered. This time, not into slavery, but into the cold, damp darkness of a prison. A place where hope goes to die. In prison, days felt like years, and the long, silent nights felt endless. No family, no freedom, no answers to his prayers, only the crushing weight of silence and the echo of injustice. But something remarkable was happening in the heart of this forgotten man. Joseph did not break. His spirit, though tested by fire, refused to be consumed, because even in the deepest darkness, he was not alone. He held onto the one thing they couldn't take from him, his faith. God was still with him. And slowly, miraculously, favor began to rise again. His character, forged in hardship, began to shine. Even in the prison, even in the darkness of a forgotten prison cell, God was at work. He had given Joseph a unique and profound wisdom, the divine ability to interpret dreams. This was not a skill learned, but a gift bestowed, a quiet power that would soon echo far beyond the stone walls. And one day, after years of waiting, a whisper of this gift reached the royal court. It traveled through corridors of power until it fell upon the ears of Pharaoh himself, a ruler troubled by visions no one in his kingdom could decipher. In an instant, Joseph was brought out of the dungeon. He was cleaned, his prison rags replaced with fine linen. He was changed, and then he stood before the most powerful ruler in Egypt. In that single pivotal moment, After 13 years of hardship, everything shifted. With clarity and authority given by God, he interpreted the dreams that no one else could understand, revealing a coming famine and a plan for salvation, and Pharaoh was amazed. The prisoner became a ruler, the forgotten son became the savior of nations. Because what was meant to destroy him, the betrayal, the slavery, the false accusation, God used to position him for greatness. And in that moment of elevation, Joseph finally understood something profound. The pit was not the end. The prison was not the end. They were merely chapters in a much larger narrative. God had been writing a story of redemption and purpose the entire time. So if you feel forgotten, overlooked, or stuck in a season of waiting, remember Joseph.
In the darkest moments,
remember his journey through the shadows, because your pit is not your ending. It may very well be the beginning of your purpose, the training ground for your destiny. Joseph's story reminds us of something powerful and true. God does not waste our pain, he redeems it. What looked like rejection was actually divine preparation. What looked like loss was leading to a greater purpose. And what looked like the end was only the beginning of a greater plan, woven with faithfulness and sovereign grace. So if you are in a season that feels like a pit, hold on to hope. Don't give up. Your story is not finished yet. If this story of perseverance and faith encouraged you today, please take a moment to like this video. Subscribe for more powerful Bible stories like this one, and share your own declaration of faith in the comments below. God is not finished with my story, because your life, like Joseph's, is still being written by a faithful author.